I think what we witnessed is how out of touch some people just are. Some people just don't really understand how America works, right? Somehow people thought that it would be cool to call people misogynist or you're racist because you have a difference of opinion. But most people just didn't decide to look within at all. And I even heard some people trying to blame black men when the majority of us still did vote for Kamala. And even if all of us did, or we matched the clip of what black women did, she still would have lost convincingly. So that's that problem, right? It was absolutely Latino vote who took it over the edge for sure. They came out, and despite people saying that there's an island of floating garbage and a whole bunch of nonsense that they thought they could demonize people with, it didn't work. People don't understand that. And for people not to understand that there's failed policies, and I understand that there are some people who can sympathize with families that want to come over here. But guess what? There is a path for citizenship. You can't just do it illegally because you want to. We can't solve everybody's problems, particularly people who are not paying into the tax system. We have our own problems here. We still have a homeless situation here. We have people who are struggling here who have absolutely paid into the tax system. And until we're okay over here, we can't help nobody else with their problems. That's just what it is. And truthfully, women actually stood up and understood that this is what they wanted. This is what America wanted. And the people who may disagree, you're actually the weird ones. You're the ones who are the odd people out because you don't understand how America works. And that's fine. This shouldn't have been a shock. We've been talking about this for a long time, that Trump was going to pretty much wipe the floor with her. People think that we care about character. I'll say it again. If there was a scarecrow versus Kamala Harris, I would have voted for the scarecrow had it had the same policies, because it just spoke to me differently. I don't care about identity politics. I think it's silly and it's weird for people to care about identity politics. For people to mention character, it's weird. It's to me, because that's not going to do anything, because all of these politicians suck as far as their character. We talked about that already. So for people to not understand just how things work, nobody cares about character. What they care about is their pocketbook. We've had some seriously failed economic policies that we've jumped into. This is where we're at. The interest rates are out of control, right? You can't buy a house right now. You can't find a house to buy. There's crazy lines for an open house right now. You can't even purchase a home easily. And then the interest rates are going to burn you. So the housing prices are, and that food is out of control. Gas is out of control. And there were things that they could have done to mitigate these issues, but they didn't. That's the problem that people are facing. People's lives are harder. People can do less with the money that they have right now. And that's what people care about. And if you could say money doesn't matter, but you can't tell that to the person that's living check to check, which is 66% of Americans, right? 2/3 of us are living check to check. That's a problem. We don't want to live like that, because it's going to determine where your children go to school. It's going to determine how healthy you can eat. It's going to determine how reliable the car is that you drive and if you can pass the smog test or not. It's going to determine the neighborhood you live in and how safe it is and how likely it is for someone to break into your damn house. People care about that type shit. That's just what it is. And they're not going to stop caring about that. And we watch people fail. And we can't say that they inherited someone's mess, because when Obama came in, he was able to fix a lot of messes. He left with a surplus, and he came with the George Bush debacle on the verge of a global meltdown. I don't know if y'all remember the '08 housing bubble and what he ran into. He fixed that. Biden didn't fix shit. And she ran under Biden. And you know what? When they asked her, what would you have done differently? She said, nothing comes to mind. That's bogus. That's a failure. She didn't do a good job of separating herself. She thought that she was just going to dog Trump into oblivion and people were going to buy it. No, you can't make him the boogeyman, because he was the president already. We saw what he did. And most people understood where they were at his time of presidency and where they are now. And they don't like that shit. So that's why people feel the way they feel. And that's why people pulled the line that they pulled. I'll leave it there for now.
Hey, thank y'all so much for allowing me to come on this panel. I am P. Ray of Chicago Red. My organization was very successful, extremely successful in this last race. We were actually able to flip a large number of the electorate toward Donald Trump. It was so close that at one point they even tried to call Illinois for Trump because they did not expect for the numbers to be this close. In the city of Chicago, we were able to get the president 37%, which is huge because last time he only got 15% of the city. He got 46% of the state, which means that we were extremely close to flipping. Now, with that being said, we didn't get no external support. Nobody was funding us. We had a bullhorn and some courage, and that's it. This is why you see us going viral on all these videos, because we go and we do the work 10 toes down. This is not about personality. This is not about character. This is about maintaining the birthright that our grandparents stood on their feet and left for us in this city, and we're not going to let people push this away from us. Now, I am a woman, as y'all can see. I'm a biological woman, a fertile, good-looking woman, okay? They've been teaching us how not to get pregnant since we were 10 years old, since the 5th grade. So I don't put any of my social or political capital into abortions because I don't get them. I don't get them. I watched the abortion video when I was 11 years old on YouTube, or maybe it wasn't YouTube, but I remember my parents did not give me a TV, but I could have a computer in my room. They didn't understand. So this was like in the days before there was even like internet safety. So the internet was wild in the 90s. And so I watched an abortion video when I was a child because I would hear people talk about it so much. And there's actually a video where you can see the baby or the fetus being aborted, and you can see it. I'm sorry, terminated. Yeah. Sorry, thank you for that. Where you can see it being terminated, and it's actually running from the tools in the womb. Okay, it's kicking away. You can see its little mouth opening. At that point, I said, I don't want this, and I began to research, and I found out that the termination movement is actually based out of the women of the Ku Klux Klan. See, there were two clans. There was the Ku Klux Klan for the men, and then there was the women, the WKKK for the women. And Margaret Sanger was their national spokesperson. So this whole termination movement that's being pushed by these progressive liberal white women, all of that started in the WKKK. This was their platform to push this on us via our churches and our intellectual class to get us to become okay with terminating our pregnancies. And now it is free in the city of Chicago. Girls go get them like they going to get their nails done. I know girls have got 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of them because they were $50 when we were in high school, and now they're free. So again, I'm not putting any of my social or political capital behind that. And I am a woman, and I have a daughter, and I do not want my daughter. People are saying, oh, I'm so sad my daughter's not going to get able to have an abortion. I know crackheads who became, termination, sorry. I won't say it anymore. But I know women who told me on this west side of Chicago, the reason I am an addict is because I was forced to have a termination, and I didn't want to do that. And baby girl, please don't do that. So that's why I'm so adamantly against it. And I find it hyper offensive that people believe because I have a womb, I'm supposed to give my votes to the party that has been invested in creating genocide via my womb for over 100 years. I'm better than that. I read better than that. I analyze better than that. And it's insulting to our ancestors who were being sterilized in the state of Mississippi in the 30s, okay? When they first started pushing this termination movement, they pushed it in the South because they said that those women were down there producing like weeds. And they sent people like Mary McLeod Bethune down there to push this on the women under the guise of women's health. And I know this for a fact because my great-grandmother was sterilized in that movement. This is my bloodline. This is my legacy. So I ask you to keep my womb out of your mouth. Whoever want to talk about what women need to do and how we need to vote in because of our wombs, I'm doing it for my bloodline that got cut off by these racist, liberal white women who now wear white to Congress to show, oh, we are supporting women's rights. Wearing white was a sign of the Ku Klux Klan. Those women were wearing white to signal to their white men that we are white too. That was the basis of the women's suffrage movement, not to get women the right to vote, but to say that we are white women and we want to be above these Negro people. So that's the second thing. The third thing is why I am an adamant Trump supporter is because there is an initiative that he had called Operation Legend. And Operation Legend was a federal initiative that sent federal law enforcement to local municipalities to help them solve cold cases and dismantle criminal organizations. When that initiative came to the west side of Chicago, they solved 3 murders in my family, 2 of my first cousins and my daddy's first cousin's son. We had a cousin killed in 03, 09, and 2014. And we were mourning for 19 years until Operation Legend came to this city through an indictment on the traveling vice lords. And not only did we get our 3 murders solved, but there were 17 other murders on that indictment. So 20 families got direct justice because Donald Trump saw us as more as a bunch of ghetto dwellers. They saw my cousins as more than low-life drug dealers and thugs and all these reasons that they failed to properly investigate their murders. These men were killing these people for 19 years, and the city of Chicago was not trying to stop them. But you know who came to stop them? Donald Trump. And that's why I got a Trump sign in my yard right now on the west side of Chicago. That's why I went and put one in my other grandma's house. That's why I put one in all the aunties. When I got the signs, I said, everybody get one because we got justice from Donald Trump. So I don't care about the fact that people have poor coochie management and can't get it together. If you haven't figured out how not to get pregnant in 2024, that solution is not found on that on that termination table, It's not found on that termination table, and it's definitely not found through my vote. You got to do something else. But in the meantime, in between time, we going to vote for the man with the plan because I'm an 8th generation American. So when we say make America great again, you talking about me, you talking about people.
Right.